Are you see that because you have had the chance to be able to mingle with many other people, or do you think people generally see it like this, that diversity is good?
The differences shouldn't be viewed as a reason for conflict. We complement each other by our differences, not by our similarities. If everyone is the same, there would be no meaning for complementing.
You are connected to everything around you. The animal, yes, I mean the chimpanzee too. I mean the rats. I mean the leopard, the water, the plant, the air. They are part of who you are. You want to dispute that? Okay, disappear from where you are. Because without the ground, you can't stand anywhere.
When we're dead and we're buried under the ground, this physical body becomes in the form of what plants can grow with. And these plants are part of what we eat in our diet too. So this cycling of the human bodies, if you're going that deep, is part of what grows plants at some point.
Who you are is not just your past and your present. It's also about the future.
Human beings think that they are a very small entity, but in fact, this whole world in us as human beings, and we are part of this world as well. So we are what makes this world, whatever it is, and this world also makes us. So I'm Dr. Leona. I am a holistic health and three brains coach. What made me take that route is my experience with Crohn's disease, which is a chronic illness and inflammation of the colon, which I lived with for over 15 years. So going through that experience have inspired me to help others who are going through similar experiences with chronic illnesses in order to ease their pain and suffering. I'm also an author of two books that topics are about development, self-development, and self-growth. They're also inspiring in terms of how a person can go through near-death experience, which I went through about 30 years ago, and then how that can transform your life and transcend you into a higher spiritual being afterwards. And definitely life changes after that.
Thank you so much for that. Now, let's try to learn more about you. So, did you grow up in Lebanon, or did you grow up somewhere, then you moved to Lebanon? Could you say something about that?
Yeah, sure. I was born and lived in Lebanon, and then I traveled to the United States at the age of 22. I stayed in the United States for 10 years, and then I came back to Lebanon for a visit, and I got the chance to travel to the Gulf for 10 years working there in education. I moved between Lebanon and the Gulf countries. At the moment, I'm currently in Lebanon. So I am Lebanese American, and I had the chance to experience two cultures and live in two countries. One in the Middle East, and the other one is far away in the West. So, which was a very vivid experience to go through.
Mm. So, what do you remember of that experience growing up having two culture? That is going to be very relevant now to the majority of the people that are listening to this podcast, in the sense that we are mostly targeting people of African descent, in the sense that they are not at home, they are abroad. There are many. So when we say somebody leave his or her culture and lives in another culture, it's something that they are particularly familiar with. So your experience, of course, is important for us in that sense. So what do you mean having two culture? Any experience you want to share with us there?
Yeah, definitely. And I talked about that in my book, Awakening to the Power of Now. it's a whole transformation when you experience another culture. Um, and as I said in my book, some people call it a cultural shock. For me, it is something to reflect on. How you lived in the past, what are your heritage, what you have inherited, and who is your true self. Because there, you're alone in a totally different culture, experiencing different traditions, living with people from different backgrounds. So it's a time for me to reflect and find truly who I am, away from any influence of the original culture which I was born in, the Middle Eastern culture. So to me, it wasn't a cultural shock. It was just a time of reflection to see who I truly are and who I want to be. So um, it is, I want to say, it is an opportunity to filtrate um, things that you have maybe raised with, but you were not truly convinced that they should be that way. And then try to find your own way in between two cultures. And definitely, it's very rich to combine two cultures, two traditions, and abide by your convictions and what you believe to be the truth.
Anyway, we're going to come back to this. This is very important. This is profound. This personal search of then discovery who you truly are. I like the way you put it there. We'll come back to that later. Now, Sharon, tell me this. You grew up in Lebanon. That is where you were born. Tell me, what do you see around you? What image do you still remember of a young Sharon growing up in Lebanon?
In Lebanon, I don't know if you have seen any documentaries or, any TV shows about the country. Lebanon is a very beautiful country. And I've traveled around the world. To tell you the truth, I wouldn't say it's the best country around the world. No, there's a lot of beautiful countries around the world. But Lebanon is one of the most beautiful countries I've lived in. The nature, the people, the culture, the only thing that Lebanon is missing is the peace and security. And maybe because how beautiful it is, everyone wants to take part of this land. And that's where we find the struggle for being here and having loyalty for countries outside, which agree to be on this land and enjoy the different, aspect of living in such a beautiful country. As a child, I have a very, very nice memories with the family, going on, trips around Lebanon to see the historical attractions here, and there's many that you can visit. The only thing that we've been missing since childhood is security. The country has witnessed several wars since I was born. I was born in 1973. So the war started in 1975. And until this moment, there are moments of peace, and then the war could break out at any moment later on. So we've lived in that kind of environment where there is no security, but enjoying the peaceful time when it is there.
Yeah, that is really lovely of a people. The spirit of resilience, I want to call it. I remember one time I was interviewing a journalist from Nigeria who have been there since the dawn of time, in the sense of since when we got independence, she have been there, saw everything, and she have matured in it. Then we were looking at the Nigerian situation. And by the way, there is a lot of similarity between Lebanon and Nigeria, and there are also a lot of Lebanese people in Nigeria. It's one of the largest community of coming from the Middle East in Nigeria. So I was saying to her that one thing I know that I strongly believe about the Nigerian people is our resilience. No matter what is going to happen, it's not going to kill us. We will survive. So I think that is what I'm also hearing from you
Japanese
when
people
you
are
talk of.
very resilient. You can't imagine. They've been through a lot, and still you see them
Yeah,
during time of peace. They're just, their spirit is so high. They just get over things and start their life again. You know, on the top of the damages and what war can break down. It can break the things, but not the spirit of the Lebanese people.
I love that. I love that. And the Lebanese people, they should really be proud of that. That is a spirit of a people that will always overcome anything, anyhow. It might be challenging sometimes, but it will be okay. Because it takes the people to overcome that. That is a good thing. All right. Now, this is where you grew up from. This is the what do you call the skin that make you who you are. But what were your vision as a child growing up? I understand this is a difficult, challenging situation that you might have seen, like you described now, that there is this momentary peace, then there are conflict and all of that. But there are life, there are people, there are vision, there are dreams. What were yours at the time?
Well, to tell you the truth, I've always dreamt to be a person who guide others, inspire others, and help them at the same time. But at that time of childhood, I didn't know what is it specifically that I'm gonna guide others with or help them. That was my passion, to ease the pain and suffering of others. And then when I experienced the chronic illness, the Crohn's disease, I thought that's what I want to help people with. I definitely found a life purpose where I could truly dedicate that passion to helping others and easing their pain, having gone through the experience myself and know how painful and how difficult and challenging it could be. So at that time, I definitely have seen life purpose for me, um, having always been eager to help others and be part of, that someone who can stop the pain.
So you turn your lemon into lemonade.
Mm, that's what.
People, some people will usually stay there and start crying. Oh, why me? Why me? And yeah, because sometimes you are not really in charge of everything that is happening, but at least you are in charge of how you react to that situation. So, like you now, something that happened to you, which is not particularly a good experience, but you turn it around as a way of helping people. And this is what I've learned about that. That when you are helping people, you are focusing on the people that you are helping. Your problem becomes less because now you are sitting on top of your problem because you are using your problem to help people. You are adding value to this world. Of course, the alternative could be that you carry your problem on your head, which means you are under your problem and it's continuously crushing you. So the choice is usually ours in that we don't decide what happened in this world. The politics that is going to come, it doesn't depend on us as individual. But we live in this situation now. What can we do? At least within our little sphere, our little circle. So I think that is a good thing that somebody can learn from you, being able to turn your lemon into lemonade. But
Exactly.
did that idea came from somewhere? Can you share something about that more?
Yeah, actually, again, I want to say in my book, I have talked about that, how your perception of your reality can change the way you deal with struggle and with hardship. When you perceive hardship as an opportunity for growth and perceive it with acceptance and positivity, it won't hit you, as you said. It will only inspire you to become a better person, to grow with the experience, and not just grow yourself, but help other grow in that sense. So definitely our perception of reality plays a huge role of how we deal with difficulties and challenges in our lives. And as long as we perceive them as an opportunity to grow and learn from that experience, and definitely my experience with chronic illness have taught me many lessons. The main lesson that I learned is prioritizing self-care, taking care of myself first. I know I want to help others, but if I want to help others, I have to take care of myself first, um, in order for me to be there, be present, and then I can ease the pain of others who are around me.
Thank you for that. And I see that you are concentrating on holistic healing, but you could have been concentrating on other thing. Why did you pick this particular aspect in your approach?
Because that was totally derived from my own experience, as I told you. I've been living with Crohn's disease for over 15 years, and with this experience, I've seen that healing is not just about the medication or the drugs that we take. Healing takes much more than that. There is a lot of aspects to how disease can affect our lives. It's not just the physical aspect, it's the emotional, spiritual, social, mental. So from that experience, I thought that this healing journey cannot just focus on the physical health. It has to combine the all of the health, which I mentioned, in order for us to heal in a proper way and to achieve balance in our life as chronically ill patients.
Um, is there something that maybe you can trace back to in your lineage, your family, that had to do with healing or holistic healing or things like that? Or is it something that you learned from school, then plus what have happened to you?
You mean how the family support can help you heal? Is that what you're trying to
No, no,
say?
no. I mean, in terms of holistic healing as an approach that you are taking, I'm trying to understand if there is anything in your family lineage that, some people will say, okay, my grandparent, for example, my grandmother that I stayed with was really good in medicine in the sense that whatever is happening to you, she know what to do with the herbs. She will know how to go into the forest and gather different herbs. She boils it for you, and you are aware almost in an instant. She have this possibility. So if I were somebody that is into holistic healing, for example, I know where to go because I've seen it. It is in my lineage. I can easily tap into it in my DNA. Yeah, so even though I didn't have a book to read, I've I have it inherent in me. Of course, okay, within also the people that I'm part of, which is the people of Islam, medicine is something that was really very involved as it were, being able to use herbs and all of that. So that is what I'm trying to understand there.
Right. Yeah, this holistic approach definitely in the past, our grandparents, they lived a totally different life. And as you said, most of their medicine was natural and herbal. I do have this, uh, this direction in my life. I try to depend on herbs for healing, which is part of the components of the healing process, meaning chamomile tea, other herbs that you can just get hold of, and they can ease the healing process. And this is something, yeah, as you said, grandparents, that's what they've done in the past. Their pharmacy was from the earth, herbs, something that is organic and natural, and that's why they have not experienced as many diseases as we are experiencing today. So, being that thoughtful person who reflect on better ways of living and healing and treating illnesses, I definitely have reflected on how my grandparents have lived and what they have used. And definitely, we have a lot of trips up into the mountains, and the way that they took care of things, as you said, fever, or maybe a cold, or a diarrhea or constipation, episodes. Yeah, they have all the time. They had natural ways of relieving that. So that is part of why I think that healing takes more than the synthetic drugs that we are using today. And definitely the natural way is the safe way, to treat conditions and diseases. But in some cases, where there is no solution but to take that synthetic drug, and in my case with inflammatory bowel diseases, until today, there's nothing natural that you can use to heal or to treat this condition. It's a chronic illness that has no solution at the moment. Researchers are still trying to find a permanent treatment. But for the time being, and to tell you the truth, I have also talked to people who are working in that field of compounding medications from herbs and from natural products, or combination of both natural products and synthetic drugs, because that is a possibility. But nothing until the moment have been, or have proved to be a treatment. And that's why we're still, struggling with synthetic drugs, and some of them are very strong for these kind of conditions. And from that perspective, I thought that the holistic approach for a chronic illness, it's very necessary, because in some cases you can treat these conditions with the natural ways, with diet, proper diet, exercising, meditating for relaxation, yoga, these kind of practices that can calm down the nervous system, and relieving the stress that could cause long-term conditions, such as autoimmune diseases and other diseases.
Thank you so much for that, Sharon. Now, you also have made mention of
You're calling me Sharon?
sorry, I didn't get it name correctly.
Yeah.
What was the pronunciation of the name?
Leona.
Leona.
Yeah. Where'd you get
Okay.
Sharon from?
Sorry, I'm
You've been calling me
sorry
Sharon
about that.
throughout the whole interview. But now
Sorry,
I just, yeah.
Sorry, you were saying something.
Yeah, I said now I just got, I was thinking you were calling me Sharon, but now you said it very clearly, so I thought you're calling me Sharon, right?
Okay, yeah. All right, so what I wanted to ask was, you made mention of perception before, and I thought maybe if you could expand on that a little bit more.
Which one?
You made mention of perception before when you
Yeah.
were explaining just now, so I was saying if you could say something more about that.
Yeah. For me, we grow, and our consciousness evolve with us as we grow. And the way we perceive our reality changes with that. So the more we expand our consciousness, the more we perceive reality from a perspective that allows us to look at difficulties and hardships from opportunities of growth and development. So the more conscious we are, the more we perceive reality with acceptance, with positivity, and with an opportunity to learn, grow, and develop.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Leona. Now, I'm trying to get something here. You are into holistic coaching, right?
Right.
Okay, so the people that you are dealing with, what specific problem do they have that maybe might need your help, or what are some of the reasons that made them come to you for assistance? What can you say about that?
Yeah, most of my clients, those who um, reach me for the holistic approach for healing, are someone who trying to find um, a way to treat. I don't want to say away from medication, but everything. So most clients who reach for my coaching are clients who want something additional to medication to treat their condition, to heal. So it's more than treatment, it's more about healing. And healing is not truly attached to drugs. Healing is uh, more of how you not just perceive the disease and deal with it. It's more how it is an opportunity to change um, their habits, changing some of the habits that could be contributing to the severity of the condition that a client is living with. So those clients, they want um, different ways, different approaches for healing their diseases or their condition. They just wanna, want something further than taking medication. They want to work on their diet. What is a healthy diet? And I personalize their treatment plan specifically for their condition. Meaning there are different therapeutic diets that they can, integrate into their personal life that will allow them to heal. Those who, let's say, have um, high blood sugar, those who are diabetic, they can treat their condition in addition to medication if they have to take medication with certain diet, a diet that lowers the blood sugar in their in their daily intake. So also those who want to let's say lose weight, and that could be um, for someone who is living with diabetes or any other condition. They want to lose weight, they want to look better, maybe. So they can work also on their diet and, let's say, integrating certain exercises into their daily life that can allow them to reduce their weight and fulfill their goals of becoming, healthier and maybe at some time look better if that was their goal to begin with. Also, there are those who are experiencing high levels of stress. That could be because of the disease, or it could be because of other factors, work, family duties. So, with this client, I can work with them to, try different relaxation techniques. That could be meditation, that could be yoga, that could be breathing exercises that allow them to reduce their stress levels. And it can also help in healing overall. Social support system. It's very important to build a strong social support system when a person is dealing with chronic illness. As you said earlier, the family, friends, a community, groups of those who are going through the similar experiences could be very supportive, and it allow these specific patients to connect and have, as you know, the chronic illnesses or any other illness, when you share it with others, when you know that there's someone else who is going through the similar experience, it becomes easier, and you can feel a little bit better when you have that support. You're not alone. There's someone who is sharing similar experience, or someone who can support you with this journey. Someone, as we said, family, friends, and a coach at some point that, especially if they have gone through that experience too.
All right, that is a good point that you raised there. And I think you are in a better position to be able to expand on that more, to be able to expand more for the listeners. In that, the angle I want to look at it is the support system that we usually have around us. Now, you were born in Lebanon, which is in the Middle East. Then you also grew up, you also spent a lot of time in the United States, which is in the West. So now there might be two culture here in terms of how we relate and how we stay around ourselves and live together as a people. So I don't know if this is true or just my perception. Looking at your culture in the Middle East and that of the West, in terms of the social network that we are talking about now. Yeah, anything you can share around that area?
Yeah, sure. Well, as you said, human nature is one to tell you the truth. We could be born in very far away countries, speak different languages, but human language is one. You know, people have the same interests. People could have, I could be sharing my experience as a chronically ill person with someone who's living in the United States, in UK, in any other country. We can share that similar experience of going through these symptoms, and so being born in the Middle East and living part of my life in the West, um, it's made me look at life from two different perspectives. But at the same time, I found that we share many common things. We share more than we have differences as human beings. And I could connect with, people who are in my country or people who are in the West at a human level, exactly the same way. Especially I talk both the Arabic and the English language, so that facilitates communication. But communication can take different shapes. It could be linguistic, it could be gestures, it could be body language, it could be in too many forms. And still, the human language is the dominant one. And it allows us to connect with other humans, no matter what their background is, and feel their pain, feel their pleasure. And, at some point, we live in a huge world, but human-wise, we are so connected. And diversity is what makes us truly unique and different. But at the same time, it is not in any way a reason for us to feel as strangers or unequal. So diversity is something to celebrate, and at the same time to enjoy when we are communicating with someone from a totally different culture and different background.
Mm-hmm. Now, uh, are you expressing it like this because you have had the chance to be able to go out of Lebanon and live in the United States? Or do you think this is the way a lot of people really see the world? Well, I'm asking that question because what you just explained is a solution to what we should have as a people. But that is actually what millions and millions of people have died for, the differences. In that somebody have perceived differences or be different as a threat instead of seeing it as an opportunity or seeing it that, okay, it's different. For the fact that it's different doesn't mean it's less or more or it's better. It just means it's different. That is what it is. You see, your eyes is different from your nose. You don't say, where are the eyes? Let's cut off the nose. That is different from the hair. That is different from the hand. If you dissect the way the human body function, you see, the way that the eyes function is different from the way the mouth function. They are very close to each other. If the eyes is doing the function of the mouth, that person is crazy. So differences is not wrong. I want you to respond to that. Are you see that because you have had the chance to be able to mingle with many other people, or do you think people generally see it like this, that diversity is good? Because naturally it's supposed to be good.
Exactly. So, as you said, differences shouldn't be viewed as a reason for conflict or, or fight or struggle. We're supposed to enjoy those differences because that's how we complete each other. We complement each other by our differences, not by our similarities. If everyone is the same, there would be no meaning for complementing or completing each other. So from that perspective, I think that diversity and our differences are viewed as in a positive way when we have in our hearts that love for humankind. When you have that love for humankind in your heart, you wouldn't view differences as a threat or feel insecure when you are with someone who doesn't truly look like you, doesn't speak like you, doesn't feel like you. You just view them from a perspective. Again, here we come back to perception, and it is linked to the level of consciousness. When you're highly conscious human, you wouldn't look at these differences as a threat. You would look at these differences, as you said, they're only differences. They're only appearances. You wouldn't be that superficial person to treat someone in a violent way or attack them just because they have different color or they speak a different language. So when you're at that depth and that level of consciousness, you enjoy these differences. You look at the person who is different from perspective that how this person can work with me so that we would be one team that bring diverse perspective uh, to humankind, how we can collaborate together. So collaboration would be more of including those differences and including those individuals with these differences, collaborate in a way where we can support each other as human beings. And I talked about that in chapter in my book, how this world could be heavens on earth if we perceive our differences and if we stop fighting each other for resources and for control. And that comes at some point from greed and hatred, because if we have that love in our heart and for humankind, and we look at world resources as there is enough resources to share, we can work together globally to ease poverty, hunger, pain as human beings. None of these conflicts or wars would have taken place, and none of them will take place in the future if we look at life from a humanitarian perspective rather than being greedy and want to control. And that's what most of politicians these days, perceive their reality as someone who wants to be in power, someone who wants to control. And those people who are, I want to say, followers or they follow a certain leader, they tend to behave in that manner just because of their loyalty to someone who is so much controlling and so much want to be an authoritative leader rather than a humanitarian leader.
Thank you so much for that. Now, there was something else that you made mention of. I want you to take some time to expand on. I think you refer to it as near-death experience and the impact that I've had on you. I could expand more on that. I think people have something to learn from it.
Yeah, definitely. I learned from it. A near-death experience for me was a turning point in my life because it gave me a sense of how time can stop at a certain moment, how we could be, physically in this world and our spirit is somewhere else for a very short period of time until I got back into the body, as I mentioned that in my book too. So out of the body experience, where you could view this world from uh, an outsider perspective, someone who is not in this world, someone who's looking at the world from above, and looking at how this life could vanish any moment, and no matter how long we might live, but this moment brings us back to our spiritual uh, origin, which is what we go back to after this life, this physical life. So from that perspective, the near-death experience allowed me to, or I want to say enlightened me, to look at reality from a point of view where um, nothing would be something that attach me to this world, to this material world. Meaning that I rose from the beginning. I was a spiritual person, but it's allowed me to raise a little bit further at a spiritual level, having lived that experience of non-physicality, being out of the body, seeing life from a spiritual point of view. And I don't remember who said that, but there is someone who said that we are originally spiritual, spiritual beings who are living this physical experience. And I totally agree with that. We are spiritual beings, and the near-death experience have truly confirmed that for me. That our bodies, our physicality, it's something temporary. At some point, it's all over, and we go back to the original self, which is spiritual.
What kind of experience did you have that give you this profound lesson of your life that has sort of changed everything for you? Tell me about this transformation that you have encountered.
Yeah. So during the accident, there was a time when they had to take us out of the car. So there was about half an hour where they had to cut the car and take us out of that car to put us in the ambulances and take us to the hospital. Um, During that time, I still recall the people who were around me, and it's just like a dream. But then I felt that lightness. I felt like, this spirit is up high, and I couldn't feel my body at that moment. Not until I heard the whistles of the ambulances coming in, and that's when I awaken up back into this world where they started to, put me on the stretcher, cutting the clothes, and started to doing the, emergency service at that point in the ambulance. So for that half an hour until they took us from the car up until into the ambulance, it was a time where I felt that lightness, that that absence from this physical body, and suddenly I felt that attachment between this spirit and that body at the moment when I was taken out of the car to be put on a stretcher into the ambulance.
You see, these are experience of a lifetime. It happened once, but it changes your life forever.
It
I
does.
don't ever wish that it happened to people. It's like what I was saying before. You don't control this life. You don't control the government. You don't control the situation. Assuming you are in a car, you can only control yourself. Or let's say you can control your car, but you don't control the person that is coming in front of you. You don't control the little rat that is going to cut across. You don't. So sometimes some things happen. And the question usually is the lesson. What do we learn from it? We are supposed to learn something from it. And you say you did learn something from it. That is important. Share with the people, what is the main lesson that you got away from this experience?
Yeah, this experience have taught me that life can end at any moment. So it's not worth it. The fights, the hatred, the envy, the greed, the jealousness, the competitiveness, all that is, something attributed to humans, but it's not worth it because at any moment we could be departing. It's departure time, and as you said, we have no control of that departure time. It comes suddenly without any warning. So why fight? Why hate? Why envy someone? In harmony with others, um, in love for human beings, trying to do as much good as we could while we have this time here in this life, because at some point, nothing we're going to take with us. At one moment, we could depart with nothing. All that we can take with us are the good deeds that we have done here. And why not we turn our whole life to good deeds of helping others and understanding their pain, their suffering, their challenges, and support them in that sense.
That's a good lesson. That's a good one. You see, it doesn't even need somebody to be very intelligent to understand this simple arithmetic that you're saying here now. This is why
I
we
think
learn about
more wisdom, I want to say. Wisdom and depth of looking at things. But thank you.
Yeah, perspective. And I think this is what story should help us understand, because now you will say, but how do I know? How you know is to look at yourself. Look at your father, your mother. Look at your grandparent, your great-grandparent. Can you still see around maybe your great-great-grandparent? No. What of your great-great-great-great-great-grandmother? No. Where are they now? Where have they gone? You see, if you tell somebody that in about 150 years from now, all of us here, over 8 billion people on earth, will be dead, all of us. Somebody will say, really? Of course it's really. How do we know? History tells us. Experience. Because we're not going to consume this world. We're not taking this world anywhere. That country you call Lebanon, other people will be there. There are still going to be Lebanese, of course. We hope so. The country you call America, other people will be there. Not the people that are here right now. It's the same for everywhere. So, if we know that is the way it is, so it's better we make a better choice of how do we want to interact with those people. Okay, I want to drag the argument a little bit towards spirituality now, because it's becoming very important. Now, I was interviewing an associate professor in the US. We were talking about spirituality, because we talk about spirituality a lot in this podcast. And he was talking about the concept of personhood. And he explained it like this. I'm going to try to compress it, because we did 4 episodes, each of them sometimes lasting up to about 3 hours, no? As a person, at least see from an African perspective, it means that you are part of what have happened before. Therefore, your ancestors, those who have been here before you, they are part of who you are. And that is not a figurative expression. That is not a philosophy. It's literally the truth. Because you came from a process of a man and a woman fusing together to give birth to you. That is how you came here. You didn't come here through a process. So that is settled. Now, you are connected to everything around you. The animal, yes, I mean the chimpanzee too. I mean the rats, I mean the leopard, the water, the plant, the air. They are part of who you are. You want to dispute that? Okay, disappear from where you are, because without the ground, you can't stand anywhere. What you eat is an equation where the earth was evoked. You put something on the earth, it germinates, it grows, then you go to eat it. You are eating part of who you are. Okay, that is a little bit large. Okay, I'll come back. Now, he said, who you are is not just your past and your present. It's also about the future. So that you are part of the generation that is not yet born. So that when I was saying that all of us will be dead in about 150 years from now, we are going to be part of who are going to come, because they are all part of us and we are part of them. Therefore, it just simply means we need to be conscious of the action that we are taking, because we are not going to escape. We are going to be here, but in different ways. So I think this is very important here. This question of where do we go from here and what do we do with the chance that we have right now? We're going to, in the physical phase that we are today, remain like this. But we also must know that we are part of what is going to come, because they come from us. We are everything that we see around us because we are part of it. It's not whether or not it is true. It is true. It is evidently true. All we just need to know is to be more conscious of that and to respect what is around us, because we are part of that. We don't need to be very intelligent to know that. We just need to open our eyes and see it. No, it's not a question. Of course, you can reflect if you can say something about it if you want to.
Right, and to confirm what you're saying, when we're dead and we're buried under the ground, this physical body becomes, in the form of what plants can grow with, and these plants are part of what we eat in our diet too. So this cycling of the human bodies, if you're going that deep, is part of what grows plants at some point. The soil in which plants can grow, and those plants can be part of what we consume as human beings again. So the cycle of life is very interconnected. Between humans, plants, the earth, the water that comes from the sea, which is, our human bodies are mostly water. 70% of what we are is liquid and in the form of water. So yeah, we are part of this world, and this world is part of us. But as you're saying, it's a very, in a very delicate way, and there are, there is a lot of quotes that you can refer to while talking about this topic specifically. Is that human beings think that they are a very small entity, but in fact, this whole world in us as human beings, and we are part of this world as well. So we are what makes this world, whatever it is, and this world also makes us whoever we are.
That is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. And it calls for the consciousness or the conscious decision of what we do, to understand that when we are destroying this world, we are destroying ourselves. And I say, who destroys his or herself is the ignorant person. Because if you are conscious, if you are wise, you will not destroy yourself, because you are this world. You are not taken from somewhere and planted here. You are everything here. This world is you. If you maintain it well, it becomes more beautiful. You can also destroy it. I mean, you will become more ugly. You are destroying essentially who you are. Anyway.
But as you said, it's
really
part of a part of ignorance. If we are conscious enough, educated enough, knowledgeable enough to know what we are doing as humans, we wouldn't be doing what we are doing in terms of destruction and killing each other. But it's all done out of ignorance. And at some point, human nature is one.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Now, people have listened to you to this point, and they want to connect with you because they want to learn more about you. They want to become your client. We expect that they become your client. That is also one of the reasons that we are here. The guests that we bring here, we encourage the audience to either subscribe to them, learn from them, buy their books or their offer, their courses. That is, we are saying that openly. We want that to happen. So tell them how to reach you.
Yeah, I'm very reachable. I am active on social media. I have my website, awakentothenow.com, and they can reach me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X platform now. So if they want to connect with me on any of these platforms or book a discovery call, and at the same time they can take the holistic health assessment, which I have also on my website, that can evaluate their overall health, and it allows me to check out, and evaluate areas of development, and if they want to work on certain areas of their life to improve, they can take that holistic health assessment and book a discovery call, and it's all for free. Then it's all up to them if they want to proceed with a personalized treatment plan, or I want to say treatment or improvement plan, because they can work on improving their health holistically. I'm active on all of these social platforms.
Thank you so much for that. The conversation was becoming a little bit esoteric at a point now, where it is important that we touch also on that aspect of life. And like it will be said in Africa, nothing is just in and of itself. Everything is connected to every other thing. So it is possible that we were talking about the economy, but just now we're also talking about politics, because they are all connected. Nothing is separate. All right. So thank you for the patience and for the explanation. Now, how would you conclude the conversation? What is your final thought here?
As you said, even though I'm from Lebanon and you're from Nigeria, as you see, we have a lot of things in common, as human beings. The economy, the politics, at some point, the conflicts, the political conflicts, and at the same time, we don't want to ignore the positive side of being humans, compassionate about others, wanting to give to the community, wanting to help the community, help humanity at some point at a higher scale or higher level. So I want to say that, as we have spoken during the conversation, we are diverse, we have differences, but what we have in common as human beings is much more than our differences. And that's what should be our focus, to live in this world for as much time as we have, in peace and harmony, and supporting each other rather than destroying and attacking each other.
Leona, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time and the pleasure that you bless us with today, being able to help us understand these dynamics of this beauty of life. I want to call it like that, because life is always beautiful. No, I usually would describe it as flower. I say, how you know what the flower is supposed to do? It just be flower. So life is just live it, just live, no, and flower. It's beautiful. So thank you so much for the time and the sharing here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting me. I enjoyed this conversation. It was very spontaneous and natural, and without any preparations ahead. And I enjoyed that style. And I'm looking forward to see the recording later on.
Definitely.